Hello and welcome to the March 2023 version of the Philmont Trek Talk group on Facebook's monthly QA, where we do everything we can to help everyone out there in the group to have the best trek at Philmont possible. My name's Jeff. I'll be your tour guide this evening. And why don't we start bringing in the rest of the people, and then we'll go around and get introductions from everyone, and then I'll warn you our topic today. Let me show it to you one more time. That's right. It's going to be hygiene on the trail. We have a distinguished panel. I'm going to start clicking and bringing them in while I'm talking here, and then we'll go around and do introductions, and then we'll dive into the various things that hygiene on the trail at Philmont could mean. All right. So I'll start out. I'm Jeff. I'm the skipper of Sea Scout ship 4019 in Burlington, North Carolina, and I've been to Philmont as a youth and then a few times as an adult with my own crew, and then as a guest of some other crews. So I've got a little bit of experience there. I think one of our newbies here, Heidi, may have a little bit more experience than me. Would you like to introduce yourself, Heidi? Okay. Is everyone hearing me?
Yes.
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 Nope.
No. Okay. That explains why Heidi didn't introduce herself, because
maybe she's ignoring you, Jeff.
We're gonna move on to Darrel. I'm gonna send her a note in the private chat to see if we can figure this out. You guys go, Darrel, Scott, Janae, Andy, Sal. Go in that order, please, and I'll try to work with Heidi.
Okay. My name's Darrel Tadsen, Greater St. Louis Area Council. Been to Philmont a number of times, contingent advisor, currently a vice chairman for our district here, organizer of council contingents, and have volunteered for a number of years in the Welcome Center at Philmont after the body decided I was done chasing teenagers up and down the hills at Philmont. Knees and hips just wouldn't do it anymore. So still have the desire to go out and be in God's country and watch the youth develop their leadership capabilities. They're a totally different group from when they started to when they come off the trail. It's amazing to see the transformation. Scott?
Thanks, Darrel. This is Scott O'Mary. I'm the Scoutmaster of Troop 259 in Plano, Texas. Been to a summer trek at Philmont, a winter adventure at Philmont, and currently I'm helping two of our crews get ready to go to Philmont this summer. So awesome trip. Over to you, Janae.
Hello, here I am. My name is Janae. I'm with Troop 783 in the New Horizons district that's out in West St. Louis. I've been to Philmont once with my son's troop last year, June. It was interesting. It was kind of exciting. All the boys on the trip except one wants to return. So I think it was a good time.
It's good odds.
It's good odds. Your turn, Andy.
My name is Andy. I'm the High Adventure Chair for Troop 152 in Westfield, Indiana. I've been the lead advisor for a trek at Philmont a few years back. I also have a YouTube channel called Parrish Outdoors, where I do a lot of my outdoor activities, everything from backpacking, canoe trips at Boundary Water. Just finished a winter trek up in Boundary Waters just a week or so back. So all of that stuff, tips and tricks, a lot of gear reviews, things like that. That's kind of my wheelhouse.
I guess it's my turn now. Sal Porto, Assistant Scoutmaster, Troop 212 in Lutz, Florida, Greater Tampa Bay Area Council Lead Contingent. This year will be my 8th trek. Also owner of Suncoast Wilderness First Aid. So I do wilderness first aid and all that fun stuff. So Philmont is also near to my heart, just like everybody else who's here. I think we have Heidi. Can you hear us now, Heidi?
Yeah, I can.
Awesome.
Hi,
Right.
I'm Heidi Johnson. I've worked at Philmont for a total of 6 seasons? Yeah, 6 seasons, 4 in the ranger department, 2 in the infirmary. Started out backpacking in 07 or 06 and then 07 at Philmont. So I've had a lot of experience there.
Nice. All right. Welcome.
Nice.
I'd like to say, anyone who knows me knows that my typical MO is overpromise, underdeliver, right? So we had lots of requests, especially for this month, but every month. How come you always just have guys on talking? Where is the female representation to give that perspective of the backcountry? Not just one. We got two this time. All right. So be sure if you have any questions and comments out there for the folks watching, get them in the discussion. If you are on StreamYard, then if you look in the description of the video, there's a link that you go to. I think it's streamyard.com/Facebook, maybe. Give it permission to use your name. Otherwise, you come up as Facebook user. But this is a participatory program. This is going to be pretty good. I think we have a great panel. It's going to be a good discussion. It'll be better if you get your questions in and we can make it more relevant and answer the burning questions. Hopefully that's the only burning we have, but that's part of what we're going to talk about with hygiene, isn't it? No? Okay. I went the wrong direction with that. Okay. Sorry. Who'd like to kick off and maybe give us an outline of what hygiene could mean at Philmont?
Well, I vote for Scott because I think he brought up the possibility of this subject.
Well, he did.
I can kick it off, but I got to tell you, I'm the poster boy for not doing a very good job staying clean. I guess my worry around cleanliness at Philmont dealt with my hands for the meals and my water, keeping my water clean and treated. I didn't do a great job of showering. We did not have showers on our trek for 10 days straight. So I'm curious to hear some of the tips from my fellow panelists on keeping my body clean. Clothes, did not care. Me and the scouts kind of treated it as a badge of honor to have the smelliest, stinkiest clothes. I don't want to do that again on a trek. So I'm anxious to hear some of those tips as well. We also did a really good job of keeping our mess kits clean. We followed the Philmont cooking method. I know that's controversial for some of our panelists, but we did a good job keeping our mess kits sterilized at that point too. But those are some of the highlights I would say about keeping clean. And I'm kind of curious on where you guys want to start.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything controversial about avoiding Montezuma's revenge.
No.
Just stay away from the Mexican rice and beans. That's the one that gets you.
Yeah.
So refreshment. Let's start with the food. The keeping your hands clean.
Sure.
You may not have an abundance of water necessarily to waste on washing your hands. Maybe you do, maybe you don't at a particular camp. We had a little container of hand sanitizer in our little stove kit that we had. I don't know if anybody else used that fairly frequently or not during their trips.
If it's the same as last year, I think it was basically a small bottle of hand sanitizer like this.
Yep.
That's about it.
And refreshment, is that Philmont provided or the crews providing that themselves?
Philmont provides it.
These were provided by Philmont, the hand sanitizer and a small bottle of
Camp sets, yep.
Provided when you leave base camp, and you can also request them when you get refilled at commissaries.
Right.
Don't abuse that. Don't take them if you don't need them, but certainly don't avoid using them just because, oh no, we're going to run out if everyone uses it. Use it. They'll give you more.
Yeah.
Our crews in the last couple of years, we've asked each individual participant to bring that small 2-ounce, hand sanitizer, so they have it on their person and they don't have to go digging in the crew gear to find it. So that when they do other hygiene issues, they can, sanitize their hands.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. So when we talk about hygiene, let's talk about a couple things. So one is going to be keeping various parts of your body clean, right? Another is going to be the stuff you're wearing, And then the tools you use, like whether that's your cook gear or anything else. Are there any other kind of big categories that we want to break this down into?
I think talking about periods and how that works too is important.
Well, let's do that. So we have the potential that we will lose Heidi if a patient comes in and needs her attention. She's going to drop off. So you are here specifically to help us understand female hygiene on the trail. So if you'd like to talk about anything within there, that'd be awesome.
So, well, here we
Yeah.
go.
Hold that thought.
One second.
Oh, and she roboted. Okay, so and I told Heidi before this started, if something happens and she gets called into duty there at the hospital, she can just drop off and we'll figure it out. Okay.
We do have Janae here, I believe, yet.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Hi. Yeah, you do. However, I went with the boys troop. So with respect to talking about periods, I am not totally sure what other girls did, but I know for sure they had many talks on having enough hygiene materials. It doesn't matter whether I'm just going to be out there, tampons or pads or even a cup. I'm not sure what the girls ended up doing, but those are 3 various ways you can actually manage that time of the month. Granted, if you are using pads, you may have to pack those back out where tampons are smaller, so you can bury them just like you would go number 2 with your shovel. So, however, on that note, you would make sure that, at least for me, I would say the guys tend to bring maybe 2 pairs of underwear. That's it. For girls, whether it's that time of the month or not, I would always suggest 3 or 4, just because, yes, you all smell. You're all using hand sanitizer, and that's all great and good. But sometimes water is the best thing. And you can't get to that. So you just change your underwear and your socks, and you feel fresh no matter what. On a different note of cleanliness, most of us, even the girls, from what I heard, so we had a girls' troop and a boys' troop. The girls' troop were on a different trek, of course, but they didn't take showers either. They did use hand sanitizer. We were all crazy about that. But when we got to the point where we could use water, clean water, we did wash our hands with a lot of water, both girls and boys' troop, from what I know. Oh, is she back? Is Heidi back? Because I can stop talking
I'm
now.
back for like 5 to 10. I don't know what you've been talking about.
Well, all I could cover was that there were 3 different types that the girls, our girls troop had access to for their periods was tampons, pads, and cups.
Right.
And most that I can think of use tampons just because they were easier to manage. You just dig a hole, just like anything else. But I couldn't speak any more to that. Go ahead,
so,
because I
Philmont, you pack it in, pack it out, and you're able to throw it away in the trash, from my understanding. Because it's a blood product, bears can be very interested in that. So we don't want people putting them in the latrines. We don't want them being put in holes, if at all possible. So I know a lot of women usually bring some kind of opaque Ziploc for that purpose. So that way you can put your used items in that bag. No one knows what it is, and you can then throw it away when you're done. Yeah, so Diva cups, pads, or tampons. I think tampons are probably the easiest to use because you're not constantly emptying something out. And for a Diva cup, usually you have to rinse it out with water, and that can be difficult at Philmont. Yeah, so those are the big things. Pack it in, pack it out. There are sheets and a video that Philmont provides to have more details about that. And I think the big thing is some people wear panty liners every day. Some people will bring, we encourage every woman who may have a period to bring products, whether or not they are scheduled to have their period, because your body's under stress and at altitude, so things can change. Yeah, those are the big things about that. And each staff camp should have pads in their first aid kit. If for any reason you are caught unawares or things are worse than you had anticipated. So every staff camp is very friendly. Don't encourage all your girls to not be afraid to talk to the advisors or the staff about those things.
And
we're all adults and it happens.
I think the question not only is the youth, but even the adults are questioning, what do they do?
Right.
Which is pretty much the same, but
the same thing.
Yeah.
So
are you saying that they should be packed out and not cat-holed?
I think they shouldn't be cat-holed. It's considered a smellable when used.
Gotcha. So I apologize for that one. I said that in error, that they could dig a hole and put the tampons there, but so thank you. So just say it one more time just to make sure somebody didn't.
So you are able to throw them away at the staff camps with the normal trash. And I'd encourage everyone to do it. And if it's used and you're not at a staff camp, it goes in the bear bag. And like I said, if you have an opaque Ziploc or something similar that you can put your trash in, that way no one knows what it is. It's not as, I guess, gross to everybody else or to yourself. And then it can just go up in the bear bag. I have like a special, I guess, ditty bag for that stuff that's lined with a Ziploc. That's what I do. So.
Go ahead, Joe.
I'd like to ask a question about a device that I'm blanking on what it's called, but something that lets women pee standing up. Is this something?
Oh, the sheepy.
Right. I think there are a bunch of different brands, different types. Is that something that you'd say recommended, not recommended? Any drawbacks or things with it?
Yeah. Everyone's different on how they view this. I have friends who use it. I think it's just another thing you have to use, and then you're carrying around something that has urine on it. And to me, that's not something I want to carry around in my pack,
right.
Personally. But some women do like that. I'm a huge fan of squatting. I can do that every day, all day, and it's not a problem. But some women don't want to do that. So I understand that it's challenging.
Sure.
There's some really nifty pants these days that you don't even have to undo your pants and they just zip and you can pee that way, which is kind of cool. But I think they're a little bit expensive. So
Talking to one of our females here, there's evidently something out now called a Kula cloth that's supposed to be a wiping pad that has microbial or whatever, to be clean. And
I think the big thing, as I found, is I would always make sure I was doing pot baths in the backcountry. And I know not every troop does this, but I think that at least trying to clean parts of your body with water when you have the opportunity is pretty important. And that's one reason why some women wear liners in the backcountry, whether or not they're on their period, because that's something they can take out of their underwear and throw away.
Mm-hmm.
So liners or disposable wipes or any of those things, are those all have to be packed out as well? Okay.
Yeah, all thrown out. Yeah. Okay. It's not biodegradable, like, say, the toilet paper.
One of the same female that was talking to me about this, she suggested a small portable, and she gave me one, a little device that fits on the top of a soda bottle, portable bidet. You fill it and then fill the bottle and then squeeze it and it shoots a stream. Do you recommend that, or?
I've never used one.
Okay, we lost her.
Well, I'll tell you, I actually carried something like that on the trek last summer, and I think I only used it once or twice. But for me, I was kind of experimenting with it. I have bidets at home and use them regularly, so it's not unusual for me. And personally, I think it's a really good idea. I think that when you talk about hygiene on a daily basis where you can get a shower, if you're not as thorough, you only have that as a repercussion until your next shower, hopefully within a day or two. When you're out on the trail where it could be 10 or 11 days, the price you pay for not wiping thoroughly, it could come back to haunt you. I mean, you can get real chafing and irritation and other issues. So I'm a big fan. I think that if you can spare the water, then definitely one of the backcountry bidets is worth using.
Yeah, and that's unisex. That's female.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just got to work on your flexibility before you go.
Yeah. Maybe
Whether
practice,
you're using the bidet or not.
That's all I'm going to say.
maybe
I would have to
practice in
ditto
the
the
shower
bidet.
at home.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, say maybe practice in the shower before you go.
Right. Yeah, our trek was only 7 days, and so we all kind of talked. The adults mentioned that if it had been longer than that, we would have used that method of the squeeze bottle because we were not having. Yeah, we were going to ask the scouts to start doing that if our trek had been longer.
Sure.
So is question, I have no idea on the backcountry bidet. Is that like a personal gear or is that a crew gear?
I'm going to call
I
it.
would say personal.
I'm going to call it
Yes.
personal. I'm going to call it personal. You shouldn't have any backflow, so there shouldn't be any issue with the water bottle that you use, right? It's just something that you put on top, you squeeze it to create pressure, and it squirts water out. Where you could have a little bit of contamination issue is if you get splashback that actually hits it. Like, I'm not sure that I want to handle one that someone else has been using.
Got it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would say if you use that, you'd probably spritz yourself off and then do some wiping and you're going to be extra clean. So that's how I'd recommend using it.
Now, our crew on a general basis, for overall body washing, if you will, we carried something that's called the kitchen sink. I don't know if you're seeing this. Mm-hmm. It zips out and becomes a 10-liter basin. Yeah. And we would have a couple of those and go down to the water source or the stream, draw, a bucket full, go to a private place, use the bandana and, take a bandana bath at least every couple of days, just to get the dust and the salt from the sweat off your body.
Sure. So let's talk about why that's important, because I've heard multiple people say what Scott said about we just embraced the stink. It was a point of pride that we didn't take any showers or anything. I've seen more people have like chafing issues and skin irritation and things like that who take that approach than people who try to bathe themselves regularly. So and this could be armpits, it could be in the crotch area, it could be absolutely the feet. Yes.
Feet's big.
Even around your waist where your belt and your hip belt on your backpack ride, any of those places, salts and dirts, if they build up, they're going to irritate your skin and cause you problems. So, Darrel, I love the idea of I do the bandana bath. I think, I can't remember what Heidi called it. I'm sure she was talking about something similar. I was talking to someone in one of the in one of the threads in the Facebook group today who has been taking dude wipes. And I'm not sure how those work in terms of smellables, if like you're supposed to be able to take wet wipes, or I don't know if dude wipes are scented. If they are, they're probably like off limits. But
there are some varieties that are unscented, but
that are okay. One way or another,
unscented to humans, not to bears.
Right. I
That's what I don't-
still hesitate with those, and I would much rather encourage somebody to bring, a camp towel kind of thing. It's a microfibers, or, I'll use, they're kind of like pack wipes, the little compressible towels that come in these little, like almost tablet shaped things. You add some water to them. I've used those in like solely for a cook kit, and then I've used a separate one for a bandana kind of environment where you're just looking to have something that's going to hold up. You can reuse it a couple different times, no problem. You can wash it out, rinse it out in the evening, but then you can just use that and towel yourself over and clean all that stuff off, wipe your feet down, whatever you need to do. So,
but correct me if I'm wrong. You're treating your personal bath space like you would using the bathroom. You're doing it away from a water, running water and things like that.
Yeah. So I will usually go get my water from the water source, and then I'm taking that away. Again, you do not want to contaminate any of those water sources, whether they're streams or things like that you're pulling water from. You want to be far enough away that it's not going to leach into that. You go off, you've got your water bottle, you can wet your rag, you can do all of that stuff. You can rinse yourself off and go get more water if you need to, those kind of things. But yeah, we want to make sure that we're taking care of the environment.
Yeah, and when I use, or our crews use that bucket, they would go like the same thing. 150 feet away from the water source. Same thing you do if you're, you're urinating or whatever. And then we would rainbow it. We would just,
disperse it. Yeah.
And go back and get another bucket full.
Yeah.
And,
So Darrel, in your setup, are they putting little camp suds in the little basin, or they're just putting the suds on their towel or whatever?
No, it's strictly a water.
It's strictly water. Okay.
No camp suds.
No, the way I do mine is I just use straight water. I don't use camp suds for nothing. I'm just basically sponge bath every week. Just get the dirt off. That's all I care about, is getting the dirt.
Yeah, the dirt and dust and
get the dirt and the grime off your feet.
Yeah, you can use on the skin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I use camp suds.
So
the only problem with camp suds is if you put them on, then you got to kind of rinse it too. So you're needing a second bucket of water, if you will.
So
and that's so concentrated. I tend to, if I am using anything like if my feet are just completely caked in dirt, then I might use a little bit, but it's so concentrated you almost need none. I mean, it's such a small amount, and 95% water, and you're rinsing that through, and then you can go and rinse it off later. But it does help it, getting the sweat, breaking down the oils, getting that stuff off your skin. You do feel a lot better. So whether that's part of your daily routine, I mean, for me, crotch, feet, armpits, that kind of stuff is daily. I'm probably wiping down, if it's a hot sunny day and we're sweating quite a bit, I'm probably doing full body, wiping down the arms, your back as much as you can, your legs. You just feel so much better, especially in the evenings, getting ready to get into your sleeping gear. You don't want to be covered in grime and dirt and dust and sand. So take the time.
So while you're doing the sponge bath or whatever you're doing, are you doing anything at the same time with clothing? Or are you doing that as a separate activity?
I tend to do it as a separate activity, just because, well, I mean, you can do it together. I've just done it separately, but we'll do, the backcountry washing machine where you get, a 2-gallon Ziploc bag. The freezer bags hold up better than the storage bag. So if you want something that's going to last you, on a long trek, get the little bit more durable ones. You're adding a little bit of camp suds, filling that with water, and you're throwing your clothes for the day that you used into that bag, sloshing it around. That actually works pretty amazingly well. I know a lot of thru hikers that do the same thing, that are on the trail for months at a time. We'll do that, periodically every couple days. You may not need it every single day for your, your pants, your shirt, your fleece, your stuff like that, but you may want to be doing it to socks, to undergarments, and things like that, just to keep a fresh rotation. I used that so I didn't have to bring a lot of extra pairs of anything. I'd have 2 or 3 pairs typically of socks and underwear, and I would just rotate through those. So every day I had at night a clean pair to put on, one that's ready to go for the next day, and then one I just washed that I've got the whole next day to let dry out, because a lot of times it wouldn't dry even overnight. We'd wake up in the morning and I've had, wet socks. And so you always want to make sure that you've got backups to give those a chance to dry. And that's not even talking about getting into the rainy stuff and having to deal with that issue.
Yeah, we would at least typically on a daily basis, at least rinse out the t-shirt, and, just because that's really the most area that you're sweating with the shoulder straps, the hip belt, things like that. But 2-3 t-shirts along with you, rinse them out daily just to get the grunge out of it. You're really not going to get the dirt, if you will, but you're not really going to get dirty and muddy unless you're in the extreme rainy season. But
Well,
Right.
and that's something we can talk about as well. But I tend to agree with Andy that underwear and socks are probably your top priority, because that's where, as the salts and oils and everything build up, you're going to get the skin irritation, blisters. I know I've got some videos out there, an interview series with Russ from Right Sock, who has tons of experience with this kind of stuff, and he said, you need moisture and pressure to get blisters, and clean socks are one of the best things you can do to reduce blisters.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I think I've got
Those
Janae
socks
here.
and underwear are not really too heavy, so you
they're
could
not.
probably afford
Yeah.
to bring.
Yeah. I do
Yeah.
three of each.
Yeah,
Just
I do,
exactly for what Andy said, where
Yeah.
you can rotate. And then if you don't get to wash, if there's a day where it's just not practical to do wash that day, maybe you're at a dry camp and you can't afford the spare water, or it's pouring down rain and you don't want to get any more stuff out and get it wet, then if you have 3 and you keep that rotation going,
Now,
then
Jeff, when you say rotate, you're not
Yeah.
turning the underwear inside out and wearing it again, right?
as far as you know, that's not what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And
But in all seriousness, if that's the best you can do, that's
Yeah.
probably going to help.
Better than nothing.
several of the adults in our crew, including yours truly, we actually wore swimming trunks that had the mesh liner.
Mm-hmm.
Saved us having to do
Sure.
laundry. We could actually rinse them out and wear them wet if we wanted to.
I had a pair of shorts like that. They were running shorts, but they were similar with the mesh inside.
Yep.
And I found that maybe it's just my fat inner thighs that were rubbing together. I was getting some chafing with that. So talking about underwear, and if Janae comes back, I want to ask for recommendations for women. I have some very specific recommendations for men, but short version is I want underwear that comes I don't want to say as far down my leg as possible. I don't want them all the way to my knees, but I definitely don't want the tighty-whitey Speedo cut. I want them to be not the boy short cut. I want the longer that come halfway down the thigh, because that's going to give me, that's going to give me
like a biking short.
Like bike shorts. Yeah, the Lycra, absolutely no cotton, something kind of stretchy. But then if the thighs rub together, that's going to give a surface to absorb that friction, so that, and I'll tell you what, I did some hiking last weekend and was trying a different type of underwear that didn't come down quite as far. And after about 10 minutes, when I started sweating a little bit, I was like, oh no, this isn't going to work. So definitely you can make a huge difference with your clothing choices, with your socks and underwear, maybe even your shirts, in what you pick.
Is there anything else that you'd use for hygiene, for chafing? Jeff?
Well, Darrel's got something that I've never had to use. I've heard you can use like a body glide, or he has butt paste. I have, and I didn't bring it over here, anti-monkey butt powder, which is something similar. I use, I did bring this one, Gold Bond powder. I'll put it in my shoes to help avoid any friction, and also for some odor absorption. And I even shake it down. I'll pull my drawers open and shake them down right in the crotch area to help deal with moisture, friction, odor. It gives a nice little tingle that entertains me. So, all of those reasons.
I don't love the tingle when I've got chafing, though, because I know that Gold Bond does have one of the varieties, and I forget what it is. It's like a additional. You can get the plain, like it's almost baby powder kind of thing.
You don't like the peach mango flavor,
the cornstarch or whatever. I'll use that because I've used the cooling one that they have, and I found that at times can be painful if you've got you've got chafing going on down there.
I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah. That will make you hike. That will make you hike a little faster. And
so I used to use that, and I don't use it anymore because if you've got bad chafing, I find that irritated me personally. And I found that the basic, the baby powder, the cornstarch stuff that didn't have any of the scent or the cooling seemed to work a little bit better. But then I'll use something preemptively now, like a body glide. Right. You can use that on your toes. You can use that in your nether regions and help so that you don't get to the point where you've got, friction buildup, which is common if you've got the salt and the, all of that from the sweat and the grime. You're going to get the blisters. You're going to get the chafing. So
clean your body, clean your underwear,
clean your
socks,
feet,
change your underwear,
change your socks. Do a feet check every night.
Yeah.
That's one thing I do with my crews. After supper, we do feet checks. That's where everybody, if you have a problem with your foot, you got a blister, let's take care of it now before we have to take care of it tomorrow morning.
Yep.
Do you check your own foot or do you check your buddy's foot there?
Buddy system.
I'll literally have it put a chair down. If check your own feet, but if you have a blister, you just need one of the medics to take care of it, then we'll take care of it for you.
I don't have a chair, Sal.
We'll sit on the damn ground.
on the little pad that you brought with you.
Yeah.
We also make a point though too of stopping, not just in the evenings. Kind of a thing we at the very beginning of even the trainings that we do is, if you're having any kind of discomfort, stop the group and let's address it before it becomes an issue. If you've got the beginning of some chafing, if you've got a hot spot that is just beginning to start on a foot, let's get that Leuco tape out. Let's get the moleskin. Let's get the whatever we need to do to address that issue. It is so much easier to deal with before it gets bad, and it's so much more tolerable. Once it gets bad, it's really hard to keep you on the trail if it really gets severe. So address those things. Don't be a hero. Don't worry about toughing it out. Like, we don't want that. We want everybody to have a comfortable hike. If you have an issue, stop the whole group. We'll stop. We'll take 15 and we'll get it addressed, and then we'll get going. So
I've been known to actually not have a problem, but call a halt to the group and kind of fake checking my feet just to be the bad guy to stop the crew. And you'd be amazed. 2 or 3 other of the youth are, checking their feet or tightening up the shoelaces or whatever. But they don't want to be the bad guy to call a halt.
Yeah. That's an interesting strategy. I'm not seeing in our broadcast platform, I'm not sure that the questions are being updated. I've got one that came in about deodorant that I'm waiting to get to. We're almost there. But another one, since we're talking about powder, Derek asked, so the powder doesn't count as a smellable ? It does. And that's why what is it, after like 3 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon or something, you shouldn't do anything like sunscreen, bug spray,
Do it.
powder,
Toothpaste.
toothpaste,
You-
soap in the shower, any of that stuff. You don't want to do any of that after, because you need time for that smell to dissipate. That's my understanding of
Yes,
why.
that
That's
is
kind of the
cor-
general rule.
that you are correct. I would say if you're going to use powder, use it in the morning, use it at lunch, and that's it. Don't use it past. That's my rule is I don't use it after lunch.
Yeah, I think the Philmont guideline is like 4 o'clock, giving it a chance to dissipate and the body odors to take back over. But the supply of the product has to go up in the bear bag.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about deodorant. Let me find that comment. We can put this one on the screen because it is showing up. Deodorant isn't allowed. Do people just embrace the early teen body odor? Are unscented baby wipes allowed if you put them up in the bear bag? Well, we were talking about the baby wipes or dude wipes or whatever. I don't want to give any bad information. I'm going to defer to, and it may be in one of the official Philmont publications or in one of their preparedness videos. They may have addressed that specifically. So if none of us are positive the right answer, then we're going to defer, go do some research. And
well, I asked Heidi that question earlier, and she said you have to pack those wipes out.
Yeah. Well, okay, good. So, but yes, definitely make sure you get the unscented or something like that.
Even the unscented may be unscented to humans.
Sure.
But they may not be unscented to a bear.
Right.
So if you're using any kind of baby wipes, unscented, I would not use them past 3 o'clock in the afternoon just to be safe. Just to be safe. Don't use them at night. Use them in the morning.
Right.
But if you're getting to camp at 5 o'clock, don't use them.
So to the direct question of do people just embrace the early teen body odor?
Yep.
Yes, some people do. I don't want to be around those people. Those people are odd. They have to screw loose or something.
But you're out in the open. You unless you're really close by, you're not going to smell them too badly.
Yeah. And the only problem with that, Scott, is when your group meets another group and walk away and they say, man, do those guys smell?
Yes.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. So here's another one. If you're using powder for chafing and it's on the inside of your underwear, or I would say I put it in my shoes, or if it's in your socks or in your shoes or whatever, do you need to be worried that pair being smellable? I think this kind of gets back to what we're talking about with the timing. Do it in the morning so that smell has time to dissipate over the course of the day. I don't want to brag or anything, but that powder doesn't hold up, to the crotch odor that forms when you're hiking and sweating. There's no way it's going to hold up to my foot odor. So for me, I'm not worried. Other people, I don't know. If your body doesn't produce the caustic stuff that mine does, then maybe you have something to worry about. But
and kind of on the smellable side, though, I get in the habit of I have clothes that I sleep in.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm getting in the tent, the clothes that I had on during the day, I've changed out of those. Those are over by my pack, over in the other area of camp. So as I'm getting into my sleeping gear, it's my bedding clothes. It's just that it's a whole separate environment just to help. Again, we want to mitigate any potential encounters. So it also helps keep, the sweat, the grime, the oils off my sleeping gear too. So I've got clean stuff that I'm changing into and going to bed. So,
yep. Yeah, that's another positive myself. I use a bag liner.
Yeah.
That way, I'm not contaminating the actual sleeping bag. I'm trying to contain it in the liner.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you're not washing your liner at all during the trek.
I've been known to do it. Yeah.
And you have time to dry. I'm assuming you only have one liner and you have time to
Correct.
dry it out. Okay.
Wash it in the morning before you leave, let it hang out. Okay. Depending upon the day, if we happen to have a short day and we're into camp early, I'll rinse it out, hang it on a tree, I mean, 5, 6, 8% humidity and 70, 80 degrees, it dries mighty fast.
Yeah, all right, I'm going to do a shameless plug here on, you'll see the logo here. This group was founded and sponsored by gearreport.com. That is the publication that I run, the Camping Gear Report YouTube channel. I have been posting videos from the trail at Philmont, and one that I think it posted today is a little demo of one of the scouts from the trek in June washing clothes in a sink. I believe it was the staff latrine at Beaubien. So if you are nice when you get to staff camp, you'll have a few options for cleaning clothes. Andy talked about using the bag method. I use that a lot. It works really well. Some camps will have wash buckets with wash boards where it's a big, what is that called?
Scrub
It's a
board.
steel bucket. What's the coating? The zinc coating they put on. Galvanized. They have big galvanized buckets, and then washboards. And you use your couple drops of camp suds in the bucket and the washboard. Some of them, if you ask really nicely, will direct, hey, where can I wash my clothes? They will direct you to the staff latrine where they have a big sink and a washboard. That's where they do their laundry. Do not help yourself to the staff facilities. Right. Only if they offer them to you can you do that. But anyhow, there's a video.
Most shower houses have those.
Yeah.
Those troughs and buckets.
And I've heard of people actually getting in the shower with their clothes on, get a little soap, washing them while they're in the shower. Mm-hmm. Be careful how much water you use in the shower. Don't stay in the shower too long. There's usually a line, people waiting. Probably do your laundry elsewhere.
Yeah, throw them on the floor and stomp on them.
I've washed shirts in the shower. Does that count? I've taken shirts in the shower, washed them while I was taking a shower real quick.
Sure.
I mean, it's all I had to do is that's the only thing that was dirty was my shirt. So I had 2 shirts that were dirty. So nobody was behind us. It didn't take me any longer.
Yeah. So had a question. Did you have any problems with the scouts keeping themselves clean? Sometimes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think more often than not.
Adults.
Yeah. And adults.
And me. Yeah.
Yeah.
We find that's a little subjective too, right? The longer you're on trail.
Right.
How clean are we at that point in time on day 10?
Yeah. So, but okay, well, let's take a little different tack here. If you're on an overnight trip or on a weekend camp out and there is some cool dirt pile, you may have scouts digging through it, doing stuff. I might be a little more vocal about saying, guys, you don't have an easy shower to clean yourself. You may want to avoid that kind of stuff while we're out here on a trek. So I don't know, maybe I'm just, throwing cold water on everyone with that, but.
Hey, can we change to a different hygiene thing that I have a question about?
Sure.
And I didn't do it. My setup is the hair on your teeth that forms after you've not brushed your teeth for a day or two. I'm assuming most people have a toothpaste and toothbrush. And I've been to different high adventure camps. And for example, at Northern Tier, they wanted me to swallow my toothpaste. I don't know if that is the prevailing policy at Philmont or not. It is not.
So in 17, they told us to swallow. And we literally blew my mind. One of the adults in the crew, everyone was fine with it. And then one guy just was incredulous. That's ridiculous and disgusting. There was no way I would even consider doing that. And we're like, really, dude? You're only using like a tiny dot of toothpaste. Like you're not using a full, like they show you in the commercial where they put the curly Q on each end of it. And it's like 1.5 inches long of toothpaste. That's like your whole trek worth of toothpaste in one shot. You use just enough to help your mouth not taste incredibly terrible. And then I just swallow it. It's easier that way.
You could swallow it, but I've seen people spit it on the sump and wash it down before you wash your dishes. You wash the spit down into the sump. Me personally, I'm not swallowing toothpaste because the toothpaste I use is a natural toothpaste that does not contain fluoride, which I ain't using. So mine I can swallow. It's not going to kill me. It's not going to poison me with fluoride. So that's just a soapbox I'm on.
Soapbox.
Yeah, most of the rain.
I was waiting for that.
Yeah, you're waiting for that, Andy.
Yeah.
Most of the rangers that I've run into in contact is usually an evening activity before bed, before hanging the bear bags. And as Sal said, it may be even a community thing. Everybody's standing around the sump, brushing their teeth, and then spitting it in the sump before you put the gray water from cooking down the sump.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. What is it, like a liter of water? Or I don't remember what the volume is, but it's like a meaningful amount of water you're supposed to pour over the sump.
Right. But if you use
all that down,
Yeah.
So it's best to, like, you don't want probably 12 people individually going and spitting on the sump and then rinsing it down. Like, you're going to use 4 gallons of water just for that.
Yeah.
You want everyone to do it and then pour the water once.
Right.
Yeah.
You should have floss on you. That's multiple uses for that. Unfortunately, my last trek, I forgot the floss. Did not bring the floss. Got desperate, and a lot of trees have those little pine needles on them, and I use those little biodegradable flossers. I just came across.
Right.
It worked pretty well.
We just bring one big strand of floss and we all just share it throughout the trek.
You wash it off between.
That
right?
would be awful. That would be awful. Yeah.
Yeah. It's crew gear, right?
It could be crew gear, but not in that way. Yeah. You could have a big thing of floss, but I would not. I don't need to cut weight that bad.
Yeah. So we talked about something I meant to mention earlier and I forgot. It just hit me. We talked about washing clothes. We didn't talk about a piece of crew gear that could be important. Generally, crews tend to take a clothesline as part of crew gear. Now, you could also have individuals that take their own clotheslines, but kind of like knives and watches and compass and all that. There are a lot of things that everyone doesn't really need to carry. You can just have 1 or 2 for the crew, and that's good enough. So that's something that you may put on your list for crew gear if you hadn't thought of it already, is some place to hang your clothes. One that I'm a fan of that almost sort of works a little bit, even if it's raining, is if you have a ridge line on your dining fly that's up under, that goes from end to end on the dining fly across the center, you can actually hang clothes on that, even if it's raining. It's probably going to be humid enough that they're not going to dry real well. But then if it stops, maybe they dry some overnight.
I think on the in the guidebook to adventure, which should be out in the mail, some people got it today. In the equipment list in there, they list at least 1, if not 2, 50-foot pieces of paracord. One for the ridge line of the fly, and the second one for whatever you need. It could be a clothesline, it could be shoelaces. I've seen a belt. Person cut off about 30 inches and using the belt to hold up his shorts.
So they're going to have. Go ahead.
I saw a hack on a clothesline, taking the little square plastic clip, whatever you call it, that's on a loaf of bread, that's got that hole in one end and kind of some teeth, taking a couple of those and using them as clothespins on the paracord, putting your t-shirt and then clipping that on to hold the clothes on the clothesline so they don't blow off.
Interesting.
Never thought about that.
All right, we got all kinds of stuff in the gear list here. So I just scrolled through the personal list, and then we have the equipment provided by the crew. So you can have some of these items show up in one or the other or both. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do is I don't expect anyone can actually read this that well on the screen. So I am going to paste the link to this PDF file from the Philmont website in the chat. And also right now there's the link for the Advisors Edition. Is that a new thing this year? I don't recall seeing that before.
Yes.
Having an Advisors Edition?
The Advisors Edition is a new item this year. On the guidebook that just for last year, they actually list 3 50-foot pieces, 1/8-inch paracord, clothesline, fly, repairing items that need tying on the pack, things like that. But their recommendation is 3 50-foot pieces.
Yeah, same thing for this year. And while I'm copying and pasting links, we're going to put them all up there. We haven't shown it yet, but the female hygiene in the backcountry, we're going to talk about that later. I'm going to go ahead and throw that link out here in the chat right now as well, just so we've got all of the links that we wanted to share are already out there. Okay, good.
That feminine hygiene one, when I saw it, I was well done.
It's not even 3 minutes long either. We may show that whole video here shortly because it's pretty short.
I hope we have time to do that. So,
yeah. All right. So on a time check, we're pushing an hour. I'd like to keep this close to an hour. So let's change gears. If we've covered enough personal hygiene stuff.
One item. I also carry a toilet kit, my own personal little small roll of toilet paper, bottle of hand sanitizer. Yes, it's got some wet wipes in there that when I take my cat hole digger shovel and head off, I take that bag with me, and that's I call it my toilet kit.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I've found most crews that I've been on tend to end up with about two poop kits that have paper, trowel, cat hole digger, hand sanitizer, and that in a Ziploc bag. And then 2 people will designate who it is, and they have it in an externally accessible pouch on their pack. So if anyone needs it, they can just grab it and go. And then at night, it goes under the dining fly or some other designated place, just to make that easy.
Instead of a trowel.
Oh, you've got a snow stake.
A snow stake.
We don't have those in Florida.
I used that this week up in Boundary Waters.
Yeah.
Nice.
Bunch of those.
Anyways, that's what I use.
One thing
not for cat holes.
That's one thing that you shouldn't have to clean. You don't want to use your trowel or your snow, whatever. We don't have those in Texas either.
Yeah.
You don't want those.
Our rule is it's clean to the point that you would be willing to lick it.
Yes. So at Northern Tier, when you turn in your trowel, they want you to put it on your nose before.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's not hazing.
No.
As far as we know. Okay, so let's talk about, we talked about personal hygiene. I think we covered that reasonably well. If anyone has any other questions, please drop them in the chat. We'll be sure to get to those. Crew hygiene, let's talk about how keeping your cookware and eating utensils and water containers and all of that stuff could be considered, these are hygiene items or things that are going to get dirty and may need some attention over the course of the trek.
Well, if you follow Philmont's guidelines for doing your dishes, my dishes go into a plastic bag in my pack, and we sanitize them before you use them every meal. So they're sanitized before.
For the uninitiated, when you say you sanitize them, when you say you sanitize them, Sal, how do you do that?
We boil the water and we dip them in the water, and the boiling water, cleans them. Even though they're in a plastic bag, they still may get dirty. So that way everybody's clean. And usually at Philmont, the only time you're going to need your stuff to eat with is usually supper time. Breakfast and lunch are usually cold. You usually do not need anything, utensils.
Finger food.
Most of it's finger food. So, what I do backtrack real quick. What I make sure all my adults have the hand sanitizer with the little clips on it, the little bottles, and they hang them on their backpack. That way, everybody knows where they're at. They're on the adults. All have. If I give that to a scout, they're going to lose it, or it's going to be at the bottom of the backpack. So, but the adults, it's hanging on their backpack. So every adult has a hand sanitizer bottle on the backpack. But you're going to sanitize your dishes every day, and afterwards you have to make sure when you clean, you have to make sure the Philmont clean before they go in the dishes. You do your dishwater. Philmont clean means if you're having rice, there's no rice pieces in the bowl. Somebody's got to clean it. Oh, you have to clean your own bowl before it goes in the wash.
Right. There is no, human sumping is not discouraged, but it is not taught.
But it's done.
But it is done. The rangers will not show you how to do it, or they shouldn't. I mean, they're coming down on the side that they think that's hazing or whatever, but it is very effective.
There's different ways to do that. If there's leftovers in the pot, everybody's got to man up and eat some of it. And then somebody's got to eat whatever's left at the bottom. Everybody takes a turn. So you got a 10-day trek. You got 12 people. Guess what? Everybody takes a turn at it. That's part of the trek. That's part of being the crew gear. You could do the human sump where you put water in and drink it. That's disgusting. I can't do it.
That's usually done with your personal bowl.
Yeah. But I've seen people do it with the pot, and I can't do it. What I do is I bring one of those little plastic food scrapers from Pampered Chef.
Mm-hmm.
And you can use that to scrape out the pot, and you could just lick that, and you're good to go.
Yeah. And you also I think they're still giving you the sump frisbee that you pour it through the gray water.
They still do that, but you don't want a lot of stuff in that.
Oh no,
frisbee. That frisbee should be almost empty when you do it. If you do it correctly, there is very few particles in there.
Right. Hey, Jeff, before you wrap up, we're not going to have time to cover this, but we've talked about most of the cleanliness, hygiene issues while you're on Philmont proper. If you have crews going out into the valle or off property, doing leave no trace, there's some slightly different variations on keeping clean and hygiene when you're out there. But those will be in your guidebook.
Yeah. Not that much different, actually, Sal. I mean, the only thing different is really the creation of a sump. You can still take care of your body and the sponge bath and things like that, but it's really only the sump that's different.
Well, and this year there's no staff camps in the Velvet Isle. There's only Iris Park, Upper Greenwood, and Betty's Lake. It's the only three they're using.
Yeah, well, Rich Cabins is technically in the Vol.
Oh yeah,
but by
They have red roofs there.
3/4 of a mile, but
yeah.
So coming back while we were still on cleaning dishes and cookware, something I see often is people talking about, well, we're going to get all of X type of bowl or whatever for our crew, and I see a lot of people using collapsible stuff. And I'd say be very careful when it comes to how you can clean them. If you can't, and again, I've had people like, ooh, that's disgusting. But like when you're done eating, you should be able to lick your plate clean or bowl or whatever. It's the same stuff you just put in your mouth. I don't know what's disgusting about it. It's literally, you just scooped it up and put it in your mouth, lick it clean. And then it is super easy. it makes everything else in the cleaning process a whole lot easier. If everyone turns in something that's been licked clean, they're just being rinsed off until you sanitize them later. Like, you don't have a yum yum bag. You don't have to worry about the Frisbee or the strainer or any of that stuff, because there's no debris left except from cooking debris potentially. But I like these this brand is Fossil's, the origami type plates, where, you know, you have a little bit of structure to it, but then when you're done, you break it open, you lick the whole thing clean. You lick your spork or spoon or whatever you use completely clean. Just make sure when it comes to hygiene and your ability to clean things, you don't make it impossible by getting something that you really can't get down into. And now you have to use hot soapy water and rinse everything off. And now you have nasty water that has to be strained. You're just going to make everything more difficult. Make it easy on yourself. That's my thought.
The flatter and the smoother, no crevices, you know, that's the where things get difficult, when things have crevices and corners, and, you know,
and the silicone collapsibles are smellables. They have to go up in the bear bag, at the smellable bag at night, because even though you wash them, they still absorb odor. So,
yep.
Yeah, and everything else.
Highly don't take those.
Everything else gets left by the sump. All your other cookware gets left there. So yeah, that's more stuff.
And actually, it becomes a little challenge. You stack all of the bowls and the pots and the spoons and so forth, and stack them up like you know, precariously. So if the critters come by at night sniffing around, they disturb them, they rattle and bang and shake, and scares them off.
Okay, we talked about clothes, we talked about body parts, we talked about cooking. Are there any other hygiene issues that we need to talk about, or any other questions that folks have that we need to answer?
I don't know if anybody's trekking with contact lenses and taking them in and out, but I don't know if there's anything too different than just keeping your hands clean and sanitized for that. But I don't have that experience.
Yeah,
the recommendation that I hear most often with contacts is, if you have glasses, bring them.
Yeah, I was when I was a youth, and I had worn glasses for years, and I was tired of people making fun of me for wearing glasses. When I got contacts right before the trek, I was like, I am wearing those contacts everywhere. I am not wearing glasses anymore. But I only have one pair of contacts. And guess what? 3 days into the trek, one of my lenses ripped. I walked around with one eye open and one eye closed the whole rest of that trek, because I only had one good contact lens. If the other one had an issue, I was in trouble, because I didn't even have my glasses on the trail with me, because I was 17. And I'm not that smart now. Think how much less smart I was then. Yeah. So don't do what I did. If you're going to take contacts, I think Terry's got a great comment here. Now they have, he says, get some 30-day lenses. I can't do that. I can't. If I know people who will put lenses in and leave them in for a month. That mine have to come out every night. Otherwise, I wake up in the morning and my eyes are stuck shut. I can't even move my eyes.
Well, word of warning for those who do wear 30-day contact lenses or anything. I used to wear contacts and moved to Phoenix for a few years. And like Phoenix, northern New Mexico is arid and dry. So if you're coming from Tampa wearing contacts, it's a whole other world with contacts in the Southwest.
And it is incredibly difficult to get your hands clean enough consistently before you go to bed, when you take your lenses out, and right when you wake up in the morning. You're going to be in a rush. You may not have time. You may feel pressure. Well, you know what? I don't have time to go scrub and wash them and get them really clean. I'm just going to put them in. Then you get a little debris under the lens. Next thing you know, you have an eye infection. Your trek's done. Yep. So don't play with that. Wear glasses if you can. And I hate wearing glasses out there. I'd love to wear contacts and be able to wear sunglasses so I could have a little bit of UV protection for my eyes. But instead, I just wear the big hat to keep rain off my glasses and to help reduce the amount of that direct sunlight coming straight into my eyes, because I don't want to deal with contact lenses and all those issues we talked about.
Some of the other things would be lip balm,
Absolutely.
chapstick, beeswax, whatever. A few Q-tips for the ear, and I know there's all kinds of discussion on how to keep the ears clean, but some Vaseline to keep the nose, hydrated.
Well, and if we talk
nasal-
about multi-use items,
Yeah.
We've had really good luck with like a little stick of Carmex or lip balm.
Mhm.
Just taking a little bit on a fingertip or on a Q-tip,
Yep.
especially like when my son went, he had terrible nosebleeds. You talk about hygiene issues.
Yeah.
So how about when you wake up in the middle of the night and you're bleeding in your sleeping bag and your sleep clothes and everything? You do not want that to happen. If anyone starts to get their nose drying out, head those hygiene issues off at the pass and rub some Neosporin is a great one. That's something that one of the staff at Miranda said, here, take a Q-tip, take this Neosporin, rub it around inside the nostril a couple times a day. That'll moisten it. It'll also help it heal without getting infected. And that worked wonders for him.
Yeah, and you may even have Neosporin for, in your first aid kit for some scratches or nicks or whatever. And I'm going to put an unabashed plug in here. Several years ago, I had some dermatology issues and talked about it with my dermatologist, and he said, do not use Neosporin. And I goes, really? He said, use polysporin, because there is something in Neo that the dermatologists don't like. And if you look at the two tubes, Neosporin is not recommended, if you will, but polysporin says number one dermatologist recommended. So around our house, we've switched from Neo to polysporin.
I wasn't even aware that was a thing, but good to know.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay, so if we've covered all that other stuff, is it time now to bring that Philmont feminine hygiene video up on the screen?
Sure.
I've already shared the
link.
Let me see if there a way to get rid of that other stuff. I think that unfortunately I have.
Hi, my name is Katie Horn.
Are y'all hearing
I'm
her?
trainer here at Philmont Scout Ranch, and today I'm going to talk to you all about feminine hygiene in the backcountry. Women are prone to UTIs and yeast infections, so consider bringing more underwear. We recommend 3 to 4 pairs of underwear for a 12-day trek. You can also use wet wipes, but these products will need to go in the night, and you will have to pack out used products. This means that you'll put them in a Ziploc bag and carry them with you until you're ready to throw them away at your next staff camp. Next, we'll talk about peeing in the backcountry. While it might be tempting to pee in one of our red roof ends, that's a backcountry latrine, we ask that you do pee in the woods because urine prevents the decomposition of fecal matter and makes latrines smell bad. So take a few extra minutes if you need to find a private place to pee and then go. And when you do pee, you have a few options for wiping. First, you can drip dry, that's probably our most common option, or you can use toilet paper. But if you do use toilet paper, we ask that you dig a cat hole or that you put it in a Ziploc bag and pack it out also. Now we'll talk about having your period in the backcountry. Whether you're expecting to have one or not, we recommend that you bring feminine hygiene products on the trail with you. The altitude here at Philmont and the physical exertion on your trek could make your period come earlier than you expect or make your flow heavier than you expect, so be prepared. Traditional feminine hygiene products can be used in the backcountry. Tampons and pads, though, are smellable both when they're used and unused. This means that all unused tampons and pads need to go up in the bear bag at night, but if you do expect to change it in the middle of the night, you can always leave one inside of your boot outside of your tent. While red roofs and latrines might be a good location to change a tampon or pad, you cannot place used products inside of these. You will have to pack them out. One way to pack these out is to use an opaque ditty bag like this one. You can put your used tampons and pads inside a Ziploc bag inside of these and carry this around until you're ready to throw them away at a staff camp. Another recommendation is to volunteer to carry the trash for your crew for that day so that you can put all of your used products inside the trash without anyone seeing. There are lots of other recommendations and ideas for how to maintain your privacy here at Philmont while on your period. Just ask your ranger or do research before your trek so that you can be prepared. If you do bleed on your clothing, just remember it's natural, don't be embarrassed, but blood is a smellable, so these items will have to go up in the bear bag at night until you clean them. Ask a staff member or an advisor for help cleaning your clothing if necessary. As always, be prepared. Bring extra feminine hygiene products or clothing in case you need it. While you might not use them on trail, a crewmate might need help. We look forward to seeing you next summer at Philmont Scout Ranch.
All right, that was pretty well done.
I was, like I said, when I saw that the first time, I said, man, that's well done. Short, concise, to the point.
Yeah.
All right, and that link is in the chat if anyone wants to go back and watch that or share it with anyone. It's actually down there in the chat, so you have access to it there.
Yeah, I had a nurse one time, and her recommendation to the crew was for hygiene, take care of the pits and the privates, and you'll be fine.
And the feet.
That's all you can do.
Yeah. Well, you say it's all you can do. I'm going to throw something else out there. I have seen numerous times people who are tired when you get to a staff camp, they don't want to deal with going and taking a shower. And then within a few hours of declining, as soon as the opportunity's gone, then they're like, man, I should have done that shower. What was I thinking? Every time you have an opportunity to take a shower, it's a good idea to do that. Same for washing your clothes. Anytime you have a chance to do it, you never know. Like you may think, I don't want to do it right now. I'm tired. I want to sit down. Guess what? You may be an hour away from that thunderstorm coming through, and you're going to miss your chance if you don't do it.
Yep, because by now everybody has their trek. Everybody should know what camps they're going to, so you can do your research and you can find out which camps have got on the trek book. It tells you Pony's got showers, so if they have showers, they're going to have someplace to wash your.
And I would say, even plan your itinerary. Even you may even take a shower at a pass-through camp.
Yep.
Let's talk about how showers work in the backcountry. There are a couple limitations.
They go on like the water comes out the top, and you turn the water off, you dry off, you're done. That's how the shower works.
It does, and unless there's no water. So I've been to some camps where they're on solar-powered water, and it's been cloudy for a day or two, and now the water, they don't have water towers, but they're water, like they may have a solar pump that pumps water from a well up into this container, and then that is what feeds the staff's water and the showers and everything. If it's cloudy for a couple days, like it has been in mid to late June, the last 2 summers, we've had like a week at a time of overcast. You may get to that one camp where you were planning on having your shower. You haven't been showering or cleaning yourself because you know you're going to have midway through your trek, you're going to get to a place with a shower. I'll just do it then. And then you get there and they're like, yeah, sorry, we don't have enough water.
Closed.
Yeah. Or your crew gets there too late. All the shower reservation slots are gone. Or maybe they're not reserved, but it's 4:00. And because they don't want soap smells attracting bears, sorry, we shut the showers down at 3. So be mindful. You want to get showers, you better get there early. Ask when you're getting your porch talk, what do you have to do to get showers? Because you may, we'll go set up camp and then come back. Nope, no slots left then. They may schedule.
They also have, they have to deal with adult male, adult female, and male youth, different times. They're going more and more to the individual shower stalls, if you will. But still, they, some of the backcountries, while they have individual stalls, it's still like a big shower room, and from 3 to 4 is adult females.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Okay. Anything else we need to talk about? Because I've been reminded that we are on a schedule here.
A schedule.
Nope. Okay. So with that, I'd like to thank everyone on the panel. Janae and Heidi already had to check out. We really appreciate that. Has been one of the most persistent requests we've had is where are the ladies to help us understand what it's like to be in the backcountry if you're not a dude. So we brought the ladies this time. We've got a few that we talked to that couldn't make it this time. I spent a lot of time today trying to arrange for a pool of women that we can call on when we have questions, maybe even get some in on every one of these monthly Q&As so that we can have the female perspective represented. So thanks to all the people who helped with that. I'd like to throw kind of a virtual high five out to Caitlin Lowe, who does the Silver on the Sage podcast, because she hooked us up with Heidi and also has put some feelers out to a couple other ladies to be potential resources to have other ladies on the monthly Q&A. So thanks, Caitlin, for that. Thanks to Philip Ferrier, who sent over a bunch of links to Darrel, including that video, the links to the guidebook to adventure for scouts and for advisors. And I forgot to talk about one more that I want to put up on the screen. I know we're in a hurry. I'm trying to be quick here. That screen. We have the Philmont preparedness seminars. Oh, I got to click one more thing. There we go. I was like, why is it not on there? They have the recorded one. It's going to be a while before they have another one, it looks like. Actually, I'm not sure what the schedule is for those, but
I think they have one month yet. Yeah, I think it's this coming Thursday.
Yeah, it's this Thursday.
Oh,
it'll be this coming Thursday.
That'll be
6:30 Mountain Time, and it'll be base camp procedures is the topic.
Yep, you're correct, Mr. Darrel.
Okay. So let's see. Yes, I did put that link in the discussion as well. Go check those out. As a reminder, something I usually mention when we open the program, we are unofficial. Okay. You want the official information? That is where you get it. So go check them out. We appreciate Philmont doesn't actively endorse any outside groups, but we have a very good working relationship. We want to keep it that way. We like what they do. I think that they mostly like what we do to try to help people. So definitely go check their stuff out. And that's where you get the official information to be sure that we don't tell you anything that's going to get you in trouble. Make sure you get it straight from, I was going to say the horse's mouth. Should we call it the bison's mouth with them? I'm not even sure. I don't know. Anyhow, I feel like we've covered it.
Yeah. I asked.
We'll be back second.
I asked camping registrar last week. They were putting together the advisors packets. I said, how many? And they said a little over 1,700 packages they put together.
Wow. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
It's a lot of people. I got mine in.
Oh, guess who just remembered? Guess who just remembered to put up the ticker at the bottom? Because we are the official home of Team No Chair. Yes, you read that right. And we do this the second Tuesday of every month. And we are associated with the Philmont Trek Talk Prep News and Info Group on Facebook. There's the link. If you didn't know about it, go search for it. It's a really good group.
I think this session we introduced a new team, though. Team Fluoride for me on this session.
Team Floss.
Yeah.
And Sal, I guess, would be no fluoride on his side. So.
Sal. I think Andy really generated a new one for Sal during a discussion in the group today. Sal is Team Soapbox.
There you go. Team Soapbox.
He's the Soapbox King.
I try not to get on it.
No, but
I'm just happy someone took the title from me. Yeah. So with that, I think we're done, unless anyone has anything else.
No, we're done.
Hike on.
Icon. Anybody not ready?
There you go. I was waiting for someone to say it.
Icon.
All right.
Make
Here we go.
make it so.
Stream on.
See you next
Stream
see you
on.
next month.